A fighting fury, we're from Tigerland. In any weather you will see us with a grin, risking head and skin. If we're behind, then never mind, we'll fight and win, for we're from Tigerland. We never weep until the final siren's gone, like the tiger of...
Welcome, folks, to TikTok Tuesday. I get confused. I was just too busy laughing.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. The fucking uni. You know what I'm going to do?
Get old.
If we make, I'm going to burn it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it live on air. I'm going to burn it.
If we ever do a live show in person, you need to wear that to the live show. That
True,
would be
mate. If we make finals this year, I'll wear it and nothing else. I'll just wear that.
Tiggs, welcome back, mate. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Oh, I was going well till about let's call it 4 or 5 o'clock today. When we'll just go with it straight from the top. The news come out about Taj Hotton, who is entering a rehabilitation phase after the club discovered bone stress in his hip, which is really, really flattening because the initial prognosis is he's looking at about approximately 4 months on the sideline, as they have to pretty much go through like a light weight-bearing load and then gradually a very, very slow progression back into running. Obviously, he played really, really well on the weekend against Essendon, pulled up a bit sore in the hip, let the club know, as the players do whenever they have niggles. And then, they sort of look into it a bit more. And the bad news comes back. I mean, look, it's obviously shit. 4 months is a really shit thing to happen. It could have been a worse injury. So, I mean, the silver lining, if you want to look at it that way. But, it's going to be – it's just like on the knock of the season, come on, man. It's really, really disappointing that it's happened. I feel for the kid because he had his first full preseason, was doing really well, gearing up for some midfield minutes in round one and onwards, and then that happens. But no doubt he'll be back in that 4 months' time or whatever it might be, but just very frustrating for him.
The flip side to that to me is that we caught it, and we caught it early. That shows we've got good management in place. It's 4 months, it sucks, right? But I've just got to, like today's, I've just been reminding myself. It's just the beginning, the dawn, the pre-dawn of his career. So we're going to see 200 games of him. So we've got it early. We could have been a shamble club like Carlton, miss it, and he plays and then he breaks down and it gets chronic, and then he has the problems for his whole career. So we caught it early. I suck for him because he'd be devastated, but
100%.
He can still. From what I've heard about the kid and just seeing him and hearing him speak, I bet you his mindset now would be, you know what, I've got the back end of the season.
There's still opportunity. Like, he's still going to get opportunity playing it. At least it's not like an impact or a soft tissue. Like, he'll be able to do a lot of other things, probably upper body wise, to still keep fit and things like that. It was not great news. And I'm with you. The club picked it up at the first possible moment they could. We've seen from the track reports from track watchers over the preseason, there's been large segments where the kids haven't trained, so they have been managed throughout the off-season. So I don't really know how those type of injuries come about, but it's just shit for the kids. So hopefully he gets back. I don't want to say sooner rather than later because I want him to take his time, but you all know what I mean.
The thing is, it also poses a question, is their break too long? Like, your body, when it gets conditioned to a level of fitness and a base, if you take a too long of a break before you get back into training, injuries like this can occur. So I know Yuze was pretty strong on saying, it's like 100 days we can't even give them any footy till they're actually walking the door. So
they're probably still doing their own fitness, I guess, but it's
you would think
it will be interesting. It feels like more and more coaches are speaking up about this for a whole range of maybe different reasons. So I'm interested to see if it gets looked at. Now, the second topic, and it's funny this was posted, Greg, because I mentioned this to Tiggs about 30 seconds before I hit live. And my exact words were, I had people reach out to me saying that someone saw somewhere in the Herald Sun mentioning that Smiley's going to play VFL minutes. Is that confirmed, folks? Is that what the Herald Sun's gone with? And did they add any context to that? Because I haven't seen it personally. I would be gobsmacked in a good way if he takes the field. And I say that because up until maybe the last week and a half, 2 weeks, he's not really been kicking on his right side at all. It's been all left-footed stuff because that was the mechanism that was causing him the grief. But if they've progressed it to a point and it's comfortable and fine and it ticks the boxes, it'll be wonderful to see him out there. Yeah,
I heard
huge.
he was training. He was seen training with the main group or lining up with the main group. I heard that today. So, which shocked me when I heard it, and I heard that this morning. So, fingers crossed it's true. Look, he needs to get a run. So, fingers crossed. I trust the club. I trust the club in the way that it manages its players. So, in the injury sense, so they wouldn't put him out there if they don't believe his body's ready to go.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I suppose being a practice game, they'll most probably have a bigger bench and can manage minutes and things like that. So they might view it as a way to get extra run in his legs. It'll be interesting. I'll be keeping a close eye on what happens there. But I mean, if they're basing it off the fact that he warmed up with the main group, I kind of feel like that might be a long bow to draw. That means he's playing, but I'm all for it. I'm all for it if it's true.
Look, it might be just a PR thing with the club. Bad news with Hotton. Let's just release this because they know, no disrespect to Herald Sun, but they have the reputation of going early, give them a little bit of feedback, pump everyone back up. And look, he might just get a run. VFL, particularly in the preseason, he could get given a set directive. All right, we want you to play 5 minutes per quarter. We don't want you to tackle. We want you to play really outside just to get a bit of a run, get the taste of it back in again. And that might be what it is. But
exactly,
he's out there. He's out there. That's the main thing.
I mean, that would be a massive tick in anyone's book. And I think not many of us would have expected it if it comes to life. So I'm personally keeping everything crossed that it does come to life. Speaking of the VFL, I'm going to play this quickly. I'm not sure if many of you have heard the club's podcast at all yet. It dropped today. I'm just going to play a small segment. Manfred dropped a bit of a bombshell on the club podcast today. Hopefully the audio plays through. Have a listen to this.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, you can't. So I'm not sure if that played through to everybody else listening. It did in my ear, it didn't in your ear, Tiggs. But Manfred announced on the club podcast, not hearing anything. Damn, it works for some videos, not for others. That's really annoying. So the announcement is that on Saturday at the VFL, I'll be joining Manfred in the commentary box for the VFL game, doing some special comments and maybe not full-blown commentary for me, but I'll be, sitting alongside Manfred helping out with that, which will be streamed through the club's website. So the game's at 11 o'clock. Pretty cool to be able to have a chance to go down and help call, a bit of a game. So I'll be angling for some special comments rather than full-blown. I don't want to botch it. And I don't know how often it'll be happening. Hopefully it goes well and it's a regular thing. Who knows? Yeah. But appreciate the club giving me the chance, and entrusting me to ride shotgun and chat and commentate a game of footy. It'd be good fun.
Just call it as you see it, brother. That's it. Just call it as you see it. You can't go wrong.
Just need a list of names and numbers because I know some of the players wear some different numbers playing VFL. And we get to see, I'm sure you're across this as well, but we'll get to see Big Boston running around as well. Boston Dowling, who we've just signed from Essendon as an SSP player, as a last hurrah, essentially, because there's 6 days, I think, but from now till the cutoff. What have you made of that? I've been meaning to make a video.
What I heard.
It's a really interesting pivot. I want to call it a pivot.
Well, it backs up what I heard in relation to, because he's a ruck, just off the top of my head.
207 centimetre ruckman.
Yeah, we are, and a lot of clubs, not just us, but that's why the Jackson News, I asked, I've got some names that I heard, but I put Jackson, I said, mate, there's, and they said, there's noise, but he goes, no, mate, not from their sphere, that's no. It's nothing that they would tell me, Michael, go with it. So that for me lets me know there might be noise out there. I'm not the fount of all knowledge, but what they did say to me is that we're going to go for if we need to get an anchor replacement, it would be a rookie. That's where you get get that type of player, or a third rounder or a fourth rounder. He said, but the draft is already happened, and he was right, and we ended up getting one. So. That pays to me that I'm going to back him in on that. I don't think the Jackson thing has much. I know we're looking for experience to come in, but I'll talk more about that when we get into the trade stuff, as I promised last week. But from what I heard.
Yeah, and as Greg's mentioned here, it was mentioned by Cal Toomey, we've been following his progress for some time. Yeah, it sounds like we're not the only club who was doing that as well. What I find interesting is and there's probably a really logical answer behind the scenes that we'll never know as supporters. But what I'm trying to rationalize in my own mind is, if we've been following him for a long time and we're keen, why didn't we offer him the spot first earlier to get an extended look at him? Maybe there was reasons why we couldn't. I don't know. But we've obviously got him now, and it feels like we think he can help for the now if needed, is the vibe I'm kind of getting.
That's how I read it. Look, at the end of the day, who's to say we weren't going to give him his shot? But we had a really good hand, and his talent didn't meet the slot that we would have picked him on. So you had clubs like Essendon. Essendon in particular, they tend to focus on who we like, and then they'll try to go grab them prior to we. So that's probably what happened. But no, it's good we got our man. He played well. He played well against us too. That's the other pleasing sign. Enough to be noticed, like for me to go check that number and go, who the heck is this kid? So I reckon it's astute. It's not going to hurt us by having him on the list.
It's just interesting that there's literally a week window to make a call. I know they've got other vision, other data based on what they've seen of him previously. So they're not just making the decision off just this week or just last week. But do you think, and I'm keen to hear what people's thoughts in chat might be on this, does anyone think that there was maybe a realization moment after the Essendon practice game that we maybe do need a bit more assistance because of the rules? Or I just don't think that how that panned out was something that would have been pre-planned. It just seems like it's a bit more reactionary, which is okay. I don't mind.
Yeah, look, even if it is, then it's glad the clubs react and not just put its head in the sand and just try to ignore it and just keep on going without seeing how but we need a backup, because the way the game's going, it's more basketball in a centre now. So that means there's a lot more run. There's a lot more outside run. There's going to be less stoppages, with the last touch rule. I'm still not fully for pay of it. Like the last touch, is that also in the forward line? Or is
only
it
between the arcs?
Okay, great. It wouldn't make sense in the forward line. So you're going to need in the forward line, there's going to be a whole heap of stoppages, because that's what's going to happen. Like if I was an AFL player and I was on a wing and I wanted to get the ball out but make it look realistic, instead of doing what they do now and try to kick it to the immediate person that's also on the fat side in the wing, I'd kick it over his head, try to get in the forward line, cross that arc line, and then dribble out.
You're you're almost kicking for touch to use.
Yeah, so you're going to see a lot of that, and you're going to see a lot of forward stoppages. That's what I see what's going to happen, or defensive stoppages. So
with going after Boston, what does that then mean for someone like Hayes Brown, who rucked in the second half of the practice game? I thought he did okay. He's still very young and very new to the game as well. He's very tall. What does it mean there? And I think the other thing this means as well, and I'm just kind of reading between the lines a little bit, that I feel like this maybe means that Samson Ryan's foot is worse than what the club were hoping for. Because quite clearly Samson Ryan was the backup in plan B, and the club recruited him, extended contract, and kind of, I think, based a lot of their decision-making around Samson coming on around about now to help shoulder the load and be the next one in line. This foot injury is obviously not allowed that. Hayes Brown, we don't know too much about. Sims is out for half the year. But we're in a bit of an interesting spot for this next little period.
Yeah, look, I know Samson Ryan was, and the contract extension proved that, was earmarked as our number one ruck after Nank. And that obviously hasn't perpetuated. His career hasn't taken off as we thought it might. And unfortunately, we're in a position where this is the thing. That's why I like what we've done. We have the depth of rucks. We do have ruck depth. Unfortunately, all the depth is injured, right? So instead of recruiting someone for the medium to long term, we've gone for the now and to see where it carries us, to give our injured guys to get back in. And if this kid shows his wares, he's an intelligent footballer. I'll give him that from what I've heard. So if he kicks on and stays, great. If he doesn't, at least he's a make-do effort till we actually start getting Sims back online. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we go on our merry way. No,
because you need Sims to take the time he needs with that Navicular.
Right.
And this is where the beauty of having who was the guy from Sydney that we had? His name escapes me, who had knee injuries.
Oh, yeah, he played a couple of games.
Complete blank.
I got his. He always did his knee. I know who you're talking about.
Complete blank. I've just blanked it. You all know who I'm talking about. Someone will put the name Naismith. Thank you, Naismith. Jesus, I was thinking of crayfish, but I knew it wasn't right. Naismith. That was the beauty of having him. He's a plug and play. And look, Boston's not anywhere near Naismith level by way of age, experience, and physical development. But that was the beauty of having that backup ruckman able to step in, plug and play. Boston is obviously a bit more physically advanced than what Krasnodemski was or is. And I had a few people from Essendon sort of message me saying he's a really good preseason. They really liked what he was doing in their VFL program, training in the lead up. So there's a lot of positive calls about him too. So I don't know where it leads to. It's going to be a fascinating call. Maybe we don't take any SSP players and we wait till the mid-season draft. That's also a possibility too. And maybe it's still there. They identify a ruckman, but
it gives
on
us
the back of
flexibility.
It does. And like
we've
also got Burton. We've got Burton playing as well apparently this week. Do you think though that on the back of what's just happened, does that for you solidify that we're likely to target a ruckman in the off season? Is our hand almost forced now in a lot of ways?
I still in the belief if we do go for a ruck if we don't choose a ruck in the mid-season draft, because that's if we were going to do it, that's where I think we would do it.
In the mid-season?
We wouldn't do it, we won't do it in the off-season. Unless we do it as a very bottom age or a rookie pick. Or a rookie pick, but or a very last round pick. No, for me, that's the thing. I was speaking to my mate who's in the industry and does list management for a living for other clubs. Our ruck depth is actually quite good, what we've got. If we add another one, we might, on top of what I've already done.
Do you mean, when they say depth, do they mean by number? Or
by number, number and talent. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, we've got our three tiers. We've got our first tier, which is the aging tier, which is neck. Then we've got two tiers that are injured, right? So, and that's not normally what happens. So, with us bringing the young kid on, that shores that up. If add another one on top, it might make us, unless it's a hybrid forward ruck or because don't forget we've got Bolter. We might want to throw into the centre that can ruck if we.
Well, we do. I think we do have quite a few hybrids. We've obviously got Bolter, that's done it, but I know there's that reluctance from Uze to move Bolter, and I get that. But it depends on what the game shows us as to what we have to do, I guess.
And we've also got a couple of players that are playing on the like for example, like Fawcett, who's just outside of our main pick forwards. He might make a home for himself as a ruck.
Yeah, to me, that's his ticket in. If he can do that, that's his ticket in, I think.
So, and he's a ruck that can actually play forward. You know what I mean? So, which is pretty good. So, we've got flexibility at the moment. That's why I'm not upset about us doing what we've done. It's actually smart. I would be surprised if we went into the draft and we just traded in for a ruck. That's why I didn't poo-poo the Jackson news, but I said, no, I didn't. I just hadn't heard it. Yeah, so.
What if, a question for everybody in chat as well, in light of this, let's say the ruck rules really work against us, how would that make people feel about the prospect of a mid-season trade period? Would that make things more enticing? I know it's not coming in, but just hypothetically speaking, as a time where you could trade in for a need if something wasn't working out?
You know what? I had a funny conversation about that. It doesn't. I don't think it hurts us. What it does, it tries us to choose a different model of rucks. The way the ruck rule is now, it actually favours tall but mobile rucks, right? So they do that to win that initial tap, and then be able to get on their bike and move forward. Now, lucky for Nank, this is funny. You want to call Nank mobile, but Nank plays like a mid. He always has, does. Right? So that's great. So the second one, that's why I'm a bit bullish about Bolter going back in there, because he has that first 5 steps where he's very quick. He's got the jump to be able to compete with the tap. There's no knee on knee now. There's no, so that's going to minimise what we were worried about, putting the Ferrari in the outside of the garage, smashing up against the Commodore. So
it's interesting you say that, because I think Max Gawn feels the opposite. I think he feels like there might be more knee injuries because of that.
Yeah, but from what I just to go from what obviously the eye test has been very minimal because we've only seen a couple of games. But, for me, it seems to be the adverse of that. So,
I'm with you with the Bolter piece. I like it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So, and we've got to do something too, because we are tall down back as well. We have got tall depth down back. So we've got to be able to find a home. And this is probably a good opportunity to try our excess talls, because we have a tall list.
We do. Yeah,
we do. So we've got tools. And anyway, that's what this year is for. This year's for us is to take a baby step forward. So win about, an extra 2 games. That's why I sort of said to myself, 6 to 8 is where I'll be happy with. Cement the game plan the extra couple of layers further, but then also test our list strength. I have no problem if I hate the Bolter. Like I was one of the, I cried every time I saw Bolter in the ruck, right? And then try to play Bolter forward. I hated it. I said, no, you put him in the back line. But now where we're at and how the game's evolving, it's more of a basketball speed, particularly between the arcs. This is the time we can test it, change it around, because as we go into next off-season after, we've got to know which free agents we're hunting. Like we've we've got a short target, but we've got to be specific on what we bring in that actually complements what we have. So
we've got to identify our proper needs.
Yeah. So this is the year for me to identify our actual core strengths as a young list, and then build on that.
No, I like it. It's a good call. We'll enter this one quickly again. Cameron, how are you, buddy, first of all? Yeah, well, apparently the Herald Sun's reporting that Smillie thinks he's a chance to play some minutes this week in the VFL. So we'd all be very excited if it happens. It feels like it's out of the blue. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out. But, Tiggs, we obviously played against the Bombers on Friday in a bit of an unofficial match. So good to have a bit of a hit out. Keen to hear your take on the game.
For me, it was how can I say it? It highlighted what we were discussing all last year, right? About what's not working at the club when we're going in with that standard midfield. Because in the first quarter, we mixed it up. First quarter, we looked like, Jesus, the kids are in. They're lightning quick. They're actively trying to find each other by hand while they're in the centre to open up the outside lanes. And we then went forward with purpose. We actually, and then the scores start ticking in. And no surprise, once that started happening from the midfield, our conversion rate just instantly went from being bog average to really good. We started kicking goals. We were accurate. Because we were getting the balls in dangerous position. Then in the second quarter, and I'm happy that they did it, the coaches did it, they put last year's midfield. Well, for me, that's what it appeared. Generally, the last year midfield in. And what happened? We were strong at the first contest and then got shattered on the outside. And then what actually happens then, we do the dirty ball, because those mids that are in there aren't, let's be honest, average disposal, particularly under pressure. So the ball's messy. Essendon starts rebounding. They start scoring. They got a few, like Caddy got super protected. And I know this one person loves our show, particularly Tiger Tuesday. O'Gorman, I saw you, mate. I see you, son. I see you. It's good he's picked up where he's normally left off. But, a couple of those goals were really just, hey, we're playing on Essendon's home ground. Let's just give them a few. But
yeah, we coughed up a few easy ones. But no, you're right. The old midfielder, it showed a lot of what didn't work. I think, and I suppose we talked about it last night, and one of the things that popped up in CB, who mentioned this on one of the big footy threads, given that Hopper and Taranto and Nank weren't playing in the second half, it's like they were just running him into the ground for the second quarter to get their Ks and then off they go. But I think it's a good, as long as they take the learning from it though, isn't it, Tiggs? It means nothing if we then roll into this week and then in round one and do the same thing again when we've seen it's not giving us the result we want.
That's right. We've seen it all year last year, that midfield mix, unless it's against a team like a Carlton. Like, I'm not poo-pooing them. Like, if we're going up against Carlton, which is a inside contested, don't play the outside ring much. Yeah, put your balls in and let's go toe to toe. That's got no issue for me. But most clubs have already evolved out, so you need that speed. You need that linking by hands in the centre. It's not like the old days where you just bash in and kick it by foot somewhere forward and then hope you guys get it, right?
Yeah.
So, but thing for me is two things that I wrote down that really, really highlighted me. I've got them on my scratch pad here. I'm going to butcher his name. Grill. Is that how you pronounce it?
No, you got it. Yeah, Grill.
Yeah, Grill for me. And Cummings.
Coming.
For the
People
little,
jump on us about using the S. Just coming.
Coming. I was going to say a joke, but I won't because it's
No,
PG
we
rated.
won't do that.
But Coming and Grill for me. To a lesser extent, McAuliffe, I thought
he was good.
He was okay, but if he's on the wing, this is not poo-pooing him. I think his strength is more in that midfield mix if we could somehow work it in there. I don't think he's a genuine winger. It also answered the question for me is because I thought it might have been a bit too hard for him. Sorry, this is the brain. The guy with the long hair, that's the one who plays wing. What's his name?
Ralph Smith. You go.
Yeah, Ralph Smith. It's shocking. I could see him right there. Yeah. I don't think he's done enough for round 1 or round 2. I think he needs to evolve.
So if we step back, we'll go through them one by one. So Sam Grill, you enjoyed his game. You liked his run and dash.
Yeah, I liked his natural game because that's what you saw. I love his first 3 steps.
It's aggressive.
But he knows where to go.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. He knows, where to put that aggression. He's not like, let's just crash the first body. Like Matty Arnold's a personal friend of mine. Love him. G'day, Matt. I know he watches the show. He was aggressive, but if I see a body right in front of me, I'm going to attack it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he did not.
Whereas Grill identifies the spaces to step between.
Yeah, exactly. And then he uses his aggression to get through. And that, mate, I love that. You can't teach that. You're born with that.
It's instinctive. It's relentless. Right. And it's something we haven't had for a little while. And I was a little bit surprised at how – I wasn't surprised he was going to play well, but I think he's really put himself into round 1 calculation on the back of that. If he can do it again against the Ds, it all of a sudden becomes really difficult to not pick him. What about Sam Cumming? Now, does the Taj Hotton injury make way for Sam Cumming to come in and play a role now? I know they're not exactly like for like, but does that allow – because Sam can play half forward and can play midfield, but he's a different player type, I guess.
He did one thing that I've seen. The only other 2 young kids that I saw do it was Hotton and Funny Lawler. He took this contested mark. The ball was chipped to him. He was in the centre forward position. He was under pressure. He had Essendon bodies around him. The ball got kicked to him on an angle, even made it harder for him. And he used his football nous to get up there and take that contested mark. But more importantly, slot it through.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
So that for me shows he's a natural footballer. So if I was Adam, when you see a player like that, obviously we've got to manage his minutes because he's young, right? We don't want to.
Sure.
But he's, from all reports I've been told, he is primed. His body is A1. Last year and the year before, off-season, he trains like he's playing a game the next week. So his body's conditioned to AFL. I'd be putting him always. He would play every game for me if his body can handle it. But he's definitely in. Thank God we have him, because without Hotton, Hotton really hurts because he's that creative type player that we need in there. But we've got good quality kids. But Cummings come in because I reckon Cummings is going to be in that bridge for the coaches where it's going to sound really strange, but they're going to treat him like a semi-senior player body-wise. So they're going to not be too afraid to go, you know what, we might have Taranto, we might have Ross, we will put Cummings in there. And he won't get beaten around. Yeah. And
to answer John's question, I think for Sam Cumming, it's playing at half forward and rotating into the midfield for small stints. His stints will be smaller just because of his, I suppose, newness and inexperience in tank. But play him at half forward and then roll through the midfield. And maybe it is swapping with Sammy Lawler as per Jungle Talk.
Perfect.
It's like I said, it's a different player type to Taj, but Seth Campbell can also play that Taj Hotton way with that explosiveness and evasiveness. And as shit as it is, obviously with Taj going down, it maybe then opens up opportunity.
And he's a perfect Lambert type play. I'm not sure yet. Everyone, from reading the stuff about him as a junior, he has got a tank, right? But I'm not saying they're exactly the same type player. But starting centre half, starting as a forward pocket and leading into the midfield. So basically just starting the forward line because of the 6-6-6 rule and just going into the midfield.
And just getting up the stoppage.
Yeah, that's how I would play him. Because he's smart. He's clean under pressure. Some of his his disposal under pressure to hit a teammate. It was just, you could tell. This is that meme you see Leonardo DiCaprio
Yeah.
That was me pointing at him. I'm really, really happy. Yeah, I'm really happy.
I'm excited for it. And you mentioned Kay McAuliffe as well. I thought his work on the wing was really good, and it is very much, I think, a little bit of a makeshift position because there are so many players trying to get that midfield spot, and he can form part of that. But I thought his wing work was good. I actually think it gives a bit of point of difference. He's aggressive. He's a natural ball winner. He's an accumulator, uses it really well. And he was approached about 3 weeks ago to do it, and he obviously put his hand up to jump on board and play. And I think it's a good way to – I think we're a better team with him in and getting him AFL exposure because I think he's got something to
100%.
offer.
100%.
I think we'll see it again. I didn't mind it.
Yeah, look, he played like a guy that was told 3 weeks ago to play wing, right? So I'll give him a lot of latitude, right? But some of his work was real good quality. What I like about him, he shrinks the ground. So what I mean by that is if there's a loose ball, he gets to it. So he forces the opposition to contest him, right? A lot of wingers don't do that. They go on the outside, they wait for someone else to do the work to get the receive, and then off they run. He's got to bring that into his game, right? So his natural game is to go get ball, get that congestion. And it's fully understandable. As the game drew on, his minutes drew on, obviously fatigue set in, and he kept on getting sucked into the ball. And then they split us on the outside. And a few times his man was loose because he was not doing the pure winger role. So, but that's something he's got to learn. And look, I'm more happy to give him, the full season to learn it. At the end of the day, you go for me, because our base talent has risen. You guys got to go to the VFL and really do something, really force himself to be picked. I want to talk about another player, Sonsie. What was your take on Sonsie?
I liked it, and just sort of, I'll touch on him and McAuliffe at once to wrap up Anthony's comment. Sonsie and McAuliffe both had 20-plus disposals on the wings and rolled through the middle as well. So I liked it. I think, again, Sonsie on a wing, partnering with McAuliffe, I thought worked okay. I know we brought Retchko across, obviously, as maybe a potential wing option. Now, Retchko probably has the superior running capability than both of them, but I think Sonsie and McAuliffe are better equipped skill-wise. Some of the targets Sonsie was hitting under pressure, like he laced up Elgar when he broke through from a centre clearance.
Thank you for saying that.
It was good. And our Fords haven't had delivery like that for a long time. I'm not saying he's going to do it all the time, but it must be a nice change, I can imagine, if you're a Ford at Richmond. I think you have to see what it looks like. If he's going to get 20 to 30 disposals, both of them on each wing, and they can actually use it and cause a bit of damage, then we've got to see what it looks like.
Well, that's the thing. Sonsie, for me, what said to me, yes, he's playing round one. If he has to play wing, is if he replicates what he replicates. If he replicates it against Melbourne, I know it's the preseason, so I take a lot of it with a grain of salt. But Greg Tivendale got a lot of hate. I don't know if there's anyone my age group, but Greg Tivendale copped a lot of hate, right? Because his disposal could be wayward. But what he did, what was his weapon? The reason why he kept on getting games on the wing, it was that left foot. It was a weapon. It was penetrating. That's what you need, at least one of your wingers to be able to do. And that's what Sonsie can bring. He can, and he has higher grade accuracy. He can hit you on the tip if he needs to. And that makes up for his lack of speed, his actual ability by foot. So for me, he was a tick. I said to myself, yep, you've answered the question for me. Armstrong, a forward line, I loved.
Armstrong took some great grabs, didn't he? Just stuck the jukes up and clunked a few.
And you've got to remember, he hasn't had a full year. He's a baby in his forward craft. But just seeing is, what we're seeing now is only 25% of what he's going to deliver as he really matures into himself. He's a special talent. He's going to be a special. Some of those marks, wow.
He had no right any forward had no right to mark those. To keep the concentration, the strength, and pull them down was really good. And I think, Hayden, I reckon you're really close, mate. I think Armstrong's very close to a lock for round one. I think that's
100%.
Shout.
Yeah, we need him in.
No,
he's a good foil for Lynch. He reminds me of
and we
Lynch.
haven't really seen a lot of it. I know Lynch missed a few games last year, and then, conversely, Harry Armstrong missed a few games as well with his own injury. We haven't seen a lot of football with them together. So it'd actually be really interesting to see how much more Harry Armstrong and Jonty Fall benefit from having Lynch out there to take a bit more of the heat off him. If he can get mobile and dangerous, that's going to be their two best bet to be impactful as well.
Yeah, can I just highlight Mike 3173? Fantastic, Mike. That's the only way I see Sonsie staying on the list.
The Tivs had a great long kick and broke the lines. And what Sonsie does well, he holds width really well on the wing. He actually then is a good outlet option. He's disciplined in that sense too.
Thank you for saying that. So if he can really go, okay, every second possession or 4 of my 5 possessions are going to be that long kick, either to dangerous space or actually hit a target. If he does that on the wing, I reckon they'll go, okay, because they're really hard to defend. If he gets a loose ball and the defender goes, oh, shit, he's going to kick at 60 metres, their backs have to run back to try to maintain our forwards. It gives us a little bit of a difference instead of having the opposite winger who's more of your runner, linker. So, yeah, that's for me. I hope Sonsie's listening. That for me, that's what I'd be focusing on. And then if he does that, he'll play more games.
And you're right. We want to see it again this week, right? From a consistency standpoint, I think that's another box to tick. A lot of people have been throwing Grill's name out as a wingman as well. I think long-term, that's a really good chance.
Oh, of course.
I don't think it's any chance anytime soon because he's been training exclusively as a halfback. So I think they would want him to focus on doing just that particular role, which he's very familiar with because he did that in his coach seasons for a lot of them. And because he only moved to the wing in the 18s in the midfield, like sort of later in the piece, he's been doing a lot of halfback work. So that's where he's most comfortable. So I think they want him to thrive where he's feeling most comfortable. I've got no doubt later on in football life, he will be released onto the wing, midfield, whatever it might be. But for the immediate future, I don't think he's in contention for a wing spot. I think it's, McAuliffe, Sonsie, Ralph Smith, Rechko, Trezise, to find what works there. At the moment, I'm currently all in on the McAuliffe-Sonsie pair.
You know what's funny for me? Short.
A few people have flagged him as someone too, but could he do it? I don't know.
No, not play wing, but I'm looking forward for me, I'm looking forward to Short having a year with the kids like Rioli. Going, okay, this is when I would take off. This is how because he's a beautiful kick Short. This is when I would release the ball by foot. I know I gave it to Short a fair bit last year, and his form warranted it. He put his hand up. He had probably his worst year KPI-wise, right? So I really expect him to have a strong year. But for me, Short, if I was Short, I'd be in Sonsie's ear all the time. You got that kick, let's use it. This is how you use it. This is how you use it. But I'm looking forward to seeing, because people sort of suggest to me, I've had a few arguments with a few of my Tiger mates. Oh, Short, he can't play. He's not round one. No, he's round one. He has to play.
I'm with you there. There's a lot of comments about people not having Short in round one. And I guess if you step back and just think of it sort of logically, I guess, he's in the leadership group. He's rated very highly. He'll be there round one.
And he's a senior player.
What that looks like as the season goes on, maybe it looks different. I'm not too sure. But, after thinking about the best 23 yesterday and a bit more today, the halfback spot is a really, really jam-packed spot for us. So typically we're going to roll with Short and Banks is what it feels like on the surface. But then you've got Sam Grill, who everyone's going to be screaming to get game time. Tom Brown, who everybody wants to get game time. Luke Traynor, not necessarily a halfback, but hasn't been able to fit into the back line yet. James Trezise, Caleb Smith on the next level down. How do we fit them all in? I mean, first question, what's your ideal two halfbacks, the left and the right halfback? Who are you going with?
Can I preface it with this comment first?
Yeah.
Generally, you can teach a halfback in the half-forward line. So people forget that. Like Dan Rioli is a perfect example. He was trained as a forward first and then became an elite halfback for what we need. So I've got, for me, the way I see it, if we've got a halfback that we want to get in, so let's say we want to get Grill in the side, right? We've got Short and we like Brown's long kicking, accurate disposal, his defensive intelligence. Don't forget, people talk about let's get Brown on the wing, and I'm one of them. But then you think, well, that means we'll miss his cool head under pressure, his ability to run down chase, right? Because he's not going to be in the back line where we need him to be. He's up on the ground because he's on the wing, if you sort of get my point. So what you could do is you could go, okay, Shorts on one side, Grill go on the half-forward line. And you're going to be the offensive, just running, the offensive weapon. See what these kids do, because they can see down the ground. See what they do. Get some exposure. He's getting some match minutes. all that sort of stuff. And then as his education improves, then you could, because Brown, Banks, they're now at the stage of your career, you can alter their position and then bring Grill in. So that's how I see us introduce them. As to my best two halfbacks, for me, at the moment, Short, and I'm just writing next year off. I'm pretending that last year, I'm pretending that never happened, right? Short, and for me, Brown is what I'll be going with.
Not even Banks.
No, well, it's just because I'm in my brain, I'm working, I've got to get Hotton in, I've got to get Gipkes in, I've got to get Bolter in, I've got to get Broad in, I've got to get Vloster in. And I'm sort of looking on, for me, the reason why Brown over Banks, Brown plays tall. So he's got his marking ability and his height for me, but he's defensively intelligent. Bank, I love Banks. You know,
where would he? Because I mean, I think Banks would be in the 23. Where would he play if he wasn't at halfback?
I'll put him in halfback. I'd lock him in. I'd go halfback
for Brown.
For Short, for Brown. That's
what about Banks though? Where would you slot Banks in?
Banks for me. McAuliffe, we've given him a run in the preseason. Banks for me on the wing.
And I think people would be okay seeing that. I've actually seen that suggested quite a bit.
See, the reason why is
could you see Banks on the wing?
Because you can have two different types of wingers. So we've got Sonsie, who's that get the ball, kick it long. So he's not expected to run. He's expected to close in space, but once he's got the position, kick it deep, right? Kick it to a forward. And you've got Banks, whose role is some really elite wingers squeeze, make that side of the ground smaller by actually becoming like another midfielder. And he has the ability to do that. He's got a good tank. He's a good contested player when he gets the opportunity to do so. I'm really bullish with him. I think he's, he reads to me. When we first got him, I go, look, we've just recruited our future captain. That's how much I rate him.
It's funny you say that because I hadn't really considered him in relation to leadership. And then it come out maybe not long ago that the club internally rate him really, really highly in that space as well. And it was good to hear. It was really good to hear because sometimes you look around at where does the next leadership coming from? And I think he's very held in high regard by his teammates too, which is interesting.
Yeah, so I'd put him in the wing. I'd say, okay, he's now third season in. He's had full three full pre-seasons.
Yeah, something around that.
But he's had 3 full pre-seasons, I reckon now. So, okay, you're in. This is your role. We need you to, and then we can alternate it. That's the beauty of how we're developing this midfield mix when the kids come on like if one of them aren't firing in the midfield, we could shift one into the wing that's got speed and agility to bring the other one into the midfield. So we can mix and mode, not just forward center or back center. We can now do the wings. Once you start getting that, you're really hard to match up on because
I think it's important. It's super important to have flexibility with your positions. If you can mix it up to get a different look at what it looks like, that's huge. It creates unpredictability and it keeps it fresh. And we didn't do that a lot last year. And I understand that's a little bit by design because of protecting the younger kids, but we need to see that bit more flexibility like the first quarter this year.
And, with McAuliffe, if I can, I love this comment because this is what I was about to lead into. Can you put Paulie's 07? Paulie's spot on. For me, McAuliffe, I want to get him games. You know what I'll put him? I'd probably say to Green, okay, you haven't done enough. He did a few good things. But,
nice goal over the head.
Yeah, but it wasn't enough for me, in my mind, right? You're in the VFL, get the hunger, whatever it is he needs to do. I'll put McAuliffe as that contested forward because it's going to be
if he's not on the wing.
Yeah, I'd put him. He's got that. He's got an elite closing speed, particularly early on. There's going to be a lot of forward stoppages. That's how I see the game going. I'll tell you, mate, you play like a midfielder, but you're in the forward line. Support the talls. Unlike what similar to Mansell, but he's got a bit more toe. And I like how his natural aggression is. Give him that. Because I reckon he's worthwhile persisting with.
I think so. I think I would be all for having to be as creative as possible to get McAuliffe into the side. And I know there's probably comes a limit there, but if he's not on the wing for whatever reason, I wouldn't be against trying because I still think he's got a lot to offer. A few people have asked about Maurice Rioli. What role do you see him playing? I'm assuming he's going to play this week against the D's.
Yeah, RFC said he's exactly where we're in. It's like we're twin brothers, brother. Yeah, this is the thing. Elgar, I know he's your child from another mother, but
yes.
Elgar and Green for me haven't done enough, right? That's not a bad thing from where they are, right? It's not a bad thing. So that's the two players I would take out and go, okay, Rioli's the thing. See, I'm going to get hated. Everyone's going to hate me. I like Rioli, particularly with the link, the heritage of Richmond and all that sort of stuff, but I've got serious worries for him. His tackling and chasing is great, but you've got to be able to hit the scoreboard more often. You've got to be able to do forward craft. But in saying that, with the tools we have, we need, I love Mansell, right? I was his big defender early on when people saying he was a potato. I said, no, the kid's got talent. We've got to play him, right? And look what he is now. Mansell, though, he's got that aggression in his defence. He's not a natural forward, right? He's been put into that role because we needed that pressure forward. That's why Rioli, for me, comes in. And I'll say to Rioli, sit him down and say, okay, you've got 12 weeks. Pressure's off. You're getting picked every game. But this is what we need you to do. We need you to start crumbing under the feet of the forward. We don't need you to run after this person. And then you do, if you miss that tackle or that person releases before you get there, you're out of space. If we get a turnover and get the ball back in, which happened way too often with him.
Yeah.
When it comes off with Rioli, it's brilliant. Like I sit up there and some of his, I kiss the ring every time I see him. But he's a forward. He's got to play like that, and he's got it. He's got the ability in spades.
I think he's not a forward. I think he gets too lost as a forward. I think he's more impactful up the ground around the ball. And I reckon we'll see that a little bit more this year.
He hasn't got the tank.
This preseason, I think he's built that massively. He's been smashing out the running drills at the end of the sessions. Look, there's a bit to prove there for sure.
I hope you're right.
I'm buying into the hype. And the other thing I'm interested to see how our small forwards go, because I think all of our small forwards struggled last year, but it was our own fault. I thought we actually took our own small forwards out of the game because we just bombed it long. Opposition marked it. We didn't give ourselves half a chance to do anything.
We had no system forward. Yeah,
no,
I don't blame our smalls. I don't blame
No. They were given next to no opportunity, neither were the talls as well, to be honest.
No, exactly.
If we can fix that part of the game, it will be interesting to see what kind of work they can get up to when the ball's actually going their way or it's hitting the deck and they get half a sniff to try and cause some chaos or get a goal. Because, we also remember back to the pressure forwards that we had in our successful run. Are they those forwards? Probably not. They're probably all a little bit different, but it's going to be interesting to see how they can make it work.
Can I tell you something? Rioli, for me, is very much like Castagna was, right? If you hear me out. Castagna played every game. Why? He was a pressure small forward. And he generally stayed within the arcs. If he needed to run, he would do it. If he knew he would get the bloke, he would run and chase. And people dismissed that from Castagna. That's why I didn't understand the hate that he copped. He was an elite pressure forward. In every KPI that you rate pressure, he was elite. That's the game I would say to Maurice Rioli to mirror his game on. See, I would prefer him chasing down, tackling a defender halfback who's running out of our forward line, because that, for me, that loose ball's more dangerous, and he's got the good opportunity to get a free kick, which is, i.e., score, than chasing that same halfback flanker and getting him in mid-centre of the wing, and then being knackered with jelly legs for 5 minutes as he recovers. So that's the only knock. I'm underselling him a lot in relation to his fitness because I've been sucked in before, right? Where he's done this and this, and then you see him and he runs out of puff after the first 5 minutes of every quarter, right?
Yeah, I guess he's got to prove it for sure, but it's been unquestionably his biggest and best preseason, and hopefully that bodes well for him because I think if
he's
he
a senior player now.
Absolutely.
He's a senior player now.
It was interesting hearing him on an interview it might have been 9 or 7, that he was talking about wanting to be more of a leader and things like that, which was also really good to hear.
His footy's got to show it.
It's got to translate onto the field. It has far from what everyone's seen and heard in Match Simics translated. It needs to then translate this week. And I just hope he can get up around the contest more and get the job done.
Yeah, I want him just to stay forward, Morris. Just tackle anything in the forward line. Support Armstrong, support our tools, be under their feet, and make the half. But see, remember where our strength was? The defenders were shit scared getting the ball when we had Daniel Rioli and we had Castagna.
It's that perceived pressure.
We had Butler, and they used to rush. And trust the ones up the ground that they can apply a tackle. Yeah. We've got Banks, we've got Brown, let them tackle that player that's running towards them instead of you wasting all this energy chasing that person. Chase him in the forward line. That's what I'd be saying to him.
Now, we've got a game this week against the D's on Friday, our official dress rehearsal for all clubs, not just us. I didn't realise this. I didn't realise that for this game, we actually do get an 8-man bench. I thought it was all fully official rules. So that's good to hear that we can see. It's virtually an audition process for a lot of players for round one. What type of team are you hoping to see take the field? And game plan wise, or what do you want to see happen within the game?
Yeah, for me, I'm a little bit different. I know some people at the school have thought, well, you put your first round team in. We could get them that one match playing together against close to 85% match day intensity before you put them in round one. I'm a little bit different. I'll be lining up all the probables. People that are on the edge, we might pick you, we might not, right? And I'll say, you're playing. And say to them, this is what we need to see. And put that sort of team in. So for me, players like Sonsie, McAuliffe, and Morris Rioli, if he's fit, get him in. Those type of players that have got these question marks on them. Also, in saying that, get players that need that run. So Short, for example, Taranto, has he had enough? Hopper, have they had enough runs in their legs?
Well, Tom Lynch will have to play.
Tom Lynch is another one. Get him to play at least a half. So I would go in with basically two types of teams, but in one. Those that need minutes and those that are probable. Force us to pick you for round one and see how they go. For me, it's not about winning, losing.
No.
It's about you getting prepared for that round one game and going from that. But that's just me. That's how I rate the preseason. Because I still remember games. Remember when we had, rest in peace, Danny Frawley playing with us, and then Wallace the same, would go out and we'll smash Geelong by 28 points, 30 points, and we're like, oh, great. Then we'll play them in the season and get done by 10 goals.
Yeah.
Because you can get sucked in.
It happens a lot. You
can get sucked into the preseason.
No, I'm happy to see those types of things. I think it is. It's important. It's a dress rehearsal for a reason. We've got to see who's putting their hand up. And the players who didn't play last week do need that opportunity, don't they?
That's
to put their case forward.
Right.
Ashley, we don't know officially about Bolter. My gut feel is he's not going to play just because of the hamstring. I think it would be something they would rather not take the risk on. I mean, if he plays, it's because he's deemed fit to play, of course. I think what's in Bolter's favour, though, is up until that moment in time, he'd done 100% of the preseason.
He's done everything.
So he's got a lot of running miles in the league. So I don't think they'll be too worried from that point of view. I think I won't be shocked if they err on the side of caution. So for that reason, that's why I think that Campbell Gray and Gibcus will probably play. If Bolter's available, one of them probably misses out, but I don't know which one it would be. Now, game plan-wise, obviously in the first quarter, Tiggs against the Bombers, we played really well. Then it faded away for various reasons. What type of midfield mix are you hoping to see us roll with? And we just need to see that first quarter again for maybe 2 quarters. Maybe they're trying to hide it. Tinfoil hat time. Maybe they were trying to not expose too much because they saw what they wanted to see. That's my great white hope. I might be way off the mark, but that's what I'm hoping. But what do you want to see from the midfield in particular?
Yeah, look, I want them to do what they did last week. So, put our future in first or in second quarter, third, whichever that's the case may be that decide. And then put just a pedestrian, to get runs in their legs, whatever they want to put in. I really don't care. At the end of the day, we know that for us, if we're not leading into round one with the some particular Lawler, obviously Hotton's not, but, inject another couple of young kids in there. Cummings, another one, and then complement them with some senior core around them.
Yep.
We're taking the piss, right? So, because they show enough that they can really trouble the opposition with their ability. We've done such a bad thing this show. Lawler's game. We haven't even spoken about some of the things he did when he was on.
His mark was good, wasn't it? I know he only played a quarter and a half and then got kicked.
But even that quarter, his presence in the centre line, how he brings other people into the game.
Yeah, something happens, doesn't it? When he gets the ball, he only had 4 or 5 disposals, but he's only on for a limited time. But everything's just drawn him. Something happens.
That's right. Yeah, so I want him to see him play on the weekend. I want him to see at least play 3 quarters.
I'm with you. I know they're managing him heavily, but I'd love to see
I'd put him
more.
in. Yeah, I prefer to find out now than in round one.
Yeah,
right. You don't want him blowing up in round one, so start putting him in. They're obviously going to know what his endurance KPIs are, but I want him out there more. So that's how I would be leading in. Get the players that need that run in their legs that you want to see more from. Put them in.
It's Phoenix, that doesn't surprise me. Phoenix was at the game and Lawler wanted to be out there more, but he obviously got taken off. Now, what's going to be interesting with this game, Tiggs, I'm not sure if you saw any of Melbourne's hit out last week, but in short, Cozzy Pickett and Latrell Pickett absolutely torched North Melbourne for league speed, and they're going to torch a lot of teams for league speed.
Yeah.
So I don't want to think, please don't think I'm shit counting just North. We know we've got issues with tracking fast players from the opposition.
Yeah.
I know it's not the be-all and end-all scoreboard wise, but I think I want to kind of hear about how do we try and curtail players with the speed of Cozzy Pickett and Latrell Pickett if they're running through the middle of the ground.
Yeah.
How do we try and stop that? Because they're going to be huge plays for them this year.
Yeah, but that's where your system comes in, closing their front lane space, having players that's blocking, forcing them on an angle instead of running dead line to goal. That's what North, obviously, they've still got major problems in trying to get their coach's system, and they've had so many years to do it. But, we've got to block that leading lane. And that comes down to our coaches having the right system, our backs being, and our forwards, but, our backs being set up that they block that avenue and our wings compressing when they've got the turnover, all that sort of stuff that we did so well in the hard week period. That's really the only thing you can do. Like you could put body on them, try to wear them down, but then you give them free kicks and they score from that, all that sort of stuff. You could try to go match them space to pace as an educational thing. So I'd go to Grill. Okay, Grill, you're on one of them. And then I'll get another one with a lot of toe that we just want to let them see what they can do. And
it's pretty. I mean, Grill's one who could maybe go with him at some point for speed.
Yeah.
Morris would be another. Ryan Manson, not going to get into the habit of tagging, but the Grill one I don't mind from a learning perspective.
That's right.
I actually don't mind that. Probably on Cozzy Pickett in particular.
Yeah, exactly.
But given our notorious inability to not be able to stop momentum, if those two get on a roll, I'll be fascinated to see what we do. And I actually felt that when Essendon got their run on in the second quarter, we clearly deliberately didn't do anything about it. But I'm keen to see what do we do about it when it comes time to actually pull whatever levers we have to pull.
Yeah,
whether it's numbers behind the ball, whether it's a different midfield mix, what it might look like. But no, it should be a good game. I'm hoping to see. You just want to see a bit more of that free, fast-flowing football, like just quick decision-making and hit up some leading forwards would be nice as well. Give them half a chance.
Yeah, just don't. Yeah, the other thing too, North let them play really loose, right? And they let them do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. As long as, and we've got a too intelligent a backline to allow that to happen. So, so this is just, like I said, very similar to what O'Rising's saying. This year's about backing up what we've learnt from last year. Games like this is, find out something about this particular player that you did not know, or you want to cement what you know about this player as being true. That's how we should be targeting it. Because the way I sort of see it, when we hit round 16, 17, 18, back end of the season, that's when I want to see like an ethos change within that list where we start putting, okay, now it's about winning games. Because next year is where we should be, okay, we've got this quality in, we're targeting free agents, we're now winning football games. That's what our focus is, not just solely development and testing new things. And that's how I want to see us evolve. And that's on the coaches too. Making sure that the players are being disciplined, that they're adhering to that game plan, that if they go away from it, Uze doesn't sit in the conference and go. And credit to Adam, he's so I'm going off a tangent, but his comfortability, is that a word, with the media has improved heaps. He's no longer he actually speaks really well. He's he delivers his point succinctly. Kudos to Adam. He's growing in our eyes too, which is awesome. So I want to see him press conferences instead of him apologising and not apologising, but backing up and excusifying towards it. I want him to and talking about the learnings. Towards the end, no, we did this wrong. Hardwick was perfect at it. We went away from the Richmond way. This is what we should have did. We did it.
And I like that. Like even during our wins, it was never cheerleading and was always, it was great, but we still did a hell of a lot wrong. We need to get better.
Yeah,
so I like
that's right.
I know that's a very media trained answer, but it is. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted
Phoenix,
to see.
It's a good point. I'll tell you where he does speak really well on the Tiger Cast. And hopefully we get him on again before the season. We might be a sneaky chance. Watch this space. Z-Man, I actually don't know who kicked Lawler in the Crown Jewels, but when it happened, it looked like he slipped, and I'm sure all of us shit ourselves collectively when it happened. But yeah, it was kind of, in some ways, it was a relief. It was just a kick to the nuts, but I'm sure Lawler doesn't feel the same way, but you know what I mean there. Brad wants to know, how many games do you see us winning this year?
Look, 6 to 8. I really do.
I'm probably in that ballpark too.
Yeah, see, the way I see it is, I think our coach is a good coach. I know it's hard because some of the things were huge red flags, right? Which in fairness to me, got backed up at the end of the year where I was saying there's no system forward line, and they came out on, yes, we only had a minimal, and I could see it. So but I didn't understand the context of it as I was giving my feedback to everyone on that watches this show. So in saying that, he's improved. Every time I've seen him, he's improved in some facets, right? I like Carousella's back at the club. That gives me, I love the fact that Rutten's gone, right? No disrespect to Rutten, but I think sometimes you can stay in a job too long, at a place too long. So I think I love the fact that he's gone. I love the fact that we've got, Batchelor more involved, Lonigan more involved,
Luke Bruce, Taylor Duray.
Yeah, Bruce. And I love all that, right? So I want to see, and it won't happen overnight, but I want to see is this game plan that he's got, that we've trained this offseason, start to cement by around about round 6, round 7, round 8, and then he'll start to layer. That's why I'm bullish, because when we look good, let me say it this way. Sorry, guys, it's this. Sometimes I lose my track. Last year even when we were winning, we often didn't even look good. We looked like a suburban football team that just happened to be on top. The only game that I would take that away from was the first round 1 game where we were 42 points down. We beat Carlton. It's because we beat Carlton.
Oh, Gold Coast and the Giants game, we looked all right.
But we didn't look like we had system or method. It was just run. Okay. Yeah. It was, But this year, like the quarter against Essendon in the first quarter, we had system, we had method without the ball when they try to push it forward to create a turnover. We had, if they got per first position, that for me is what gets me excited. We look like a team with purpose on how we wanted to play. And in the second quarter, when he did the full-on rotation, I understood it. I was like, okay, he's obviously testing how we're going to handle when a team gets a run on. Who keeps their heads, who doesn't. And then I seriously think towards the end of the third quarter, the fourth quarter, we actually looked really good and regained our shape.
I thought they handled themselves okay.
Yeah. So for me, that
against
shows
a pretty strong Essendon. I know they were missing some players, of course, but we were far less experienced. Good.
It showed in that last quarter that those kids have learned whatever we've taught them in the off-season, right? That's probably what I'm going the long way around trying to say that. So I just want to see them. Yeah, I just want to see them. That's why I'm bullish. I seriously think we have the list. We have Lynch. We do have 2 key midfielders in Prestia and Hopper, even though I give it to them how we use them. They're quality players. We've got Bolter. We've got Vlosten. We've got Broad. We've got Short. We've got good quality players in that list still.
It's a good core. We just need – it's just the experience and the development of the younger kids catching up. They're a year older, a year wiser.
2 more games, I don't think is too much to ask. If we can win some of those that we lost, not that the opposition won, even though they won, but we lost by poor play. If we can correct 2 of those games, so I reckon there was about 3 or 4 of those games last year that we cost ourselves.
Yeah, I think we lost 2 or 3 games by under 4 or 5 points.
So if we can correct that and win 2 of those, that should keep 5, add 2, that's 7. So let's say 7 wins. But again,
we'll learn a little bit more from this Melbourne game, I think. I know I'm excited about what I saw in the first quarter, and I'm probably trying to more convince myself than anything that that's what the norm's going to look like when we have to play properly. I really hope it is, because if it is, it will trouble a lot of teams. And it won't happen for 4 quarters. There's going to be a lot of inconsistency as per the age demographic of our side. But I think we'll play a lot nicer looking football for a lot longer this year, hopefully. Which should hopefully keep us in games longer. And that's the other thing, isn't it? And as someone mentioned earlier, Paulie here, it's it's about percentage as well, primarily. And if we keep ourselves in games for longer, that's going to be a good step forward too. So there's lots of little things that we need to try and tick off.
That's why, Paulie, like I said last week, for me, I'm bullish. I want to see 92%. I don't care about the wins, but I want to see us at least at 92%. That's a huge lift, right? But we can do it if we convert. If we convert, we can get that 92%. So we restrict the defense, minimize the damage because we got blown out way too easily, way too often. We can halve that, but then score twice better than we did last year. We should be easy because we had a lot of shots on goal, but just didn't convert. That 90% is doable.
And even the Essendon game, that was probably my biggest bugbear, is we missed about 5 really gettable goals. And it ties back into what you just said. That's the big part of the game we need to fix. And look, there might have been some weird-ass breeze down at the hangar. None of our guys have played there before, and that's understandable. But for season proper, we need to get on top of that.
That's right.
But it's, I think there's a lot of positivity happening around the club, bar the bloody Taj Hotton thing. Before we finish up, I'll go.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Is there any trade names? Have you got something else?
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, no. I was going to say that. I gave my word that on the Thursday last week that I was catching up with my mates, and I asked about the Jackson stuff, and he said there's no water under that river. What they're hearing, but not. It's just what they've heard, so it doesn't mean it's not happening. But they actually got a name out of left field that I wasn't thinking. So anyway, like I said last year, that Harley Reid was our main target. Right, but the plan B for me that I was hearing was Butters was our second option. What we want is, and the way it got told to me is that Richmond's identified that we need a highly skilled, someone with pace, but that can be in a next level as a young kid's jump is right the right age bracket to jump with us. That's why Harley Reid was the main priority, but we also thought Butters fills that role. Now it's important to note I'm hearing the same thing that Geelong are going hammer and tong at him. But Richmond's not out of the fight. So I reckon we're a boxer's chance. Obviously, as the year goes on, I'll get more info. As his manager starts leaking more, you'll hear more. But Butters, I think, is still on the cards. And he knocked back that 8-year offer, apparently. They told me. So, that would have made him the highest paid player prior to Harley Reid. So he knocked that back. So
I think I'd be disappointed if we weren't putting our hat in the ring for Butters. Until he turns around and says no, I would be disappointed if we weren't pushing our chips his direction. Or Zach Bailey. Yeah. I'd be happy with either, to be honest.
You just stole my thunder. Zach Bailey's the other one that they actually think we're in a real boxer's chance. I said if he's going to leave, it's going to be this off-season. He fits our age demographic to what I need. He fits some of the weaknesses that we have. He'll turn them into strengths. He's got premiership experience, so he's young enough to infuse that into the list. So Bailey's another one that we're looking at as an option. Now, what I'm focusing on, guys, like I said to them, tell me for this year, right? I know there's a couple of targets for next year, but tell me for this year, what are we really thinking we're going to be locking into? Bailey. But there was a third one. There was a third one that threw me, but I have had 4 or 5 days to mull on it. No, the media hasn't broken it yet. But I thought it actually makes sense. So I want to put it out to you guys. Now, keep in mind, I'm telling you guys that are the whiteboard stuff, right? The Bailey and the Butters, there's a lot more noise than whiteboard, so I'm pretty bullish about them. But this one is, normally I wouldn't say anything, but I gave him a word, so I'm keeping it. Lachie Neale. I got told that from the whispers around that Richmond and have put the feelers out with someone like a Lachie Neale in particular. If he is open to move, his last couple of years, he gives us that experience. We get a bit of the culture from Brisbane. Cochin has been in his ear. Cochin has also told us about him. He said, obviously, the issues in this off-season. I think that one might even sparked it, but I'm not sure. That's just gossip. But Lachie Neale, if he wants a refresher, if he wants a break, this is how it got told to me. He's never played at a club like Richmond, which is one of the big four, right? Where 80 to 100,000 people consistently rock up. He's heard all the stories from Koch. The club is professional. The club still has a really strong reputation. If we have our young kids can kick on, and what I got told, he might want to coach after footy. So this
is an interesting one. It's an interesting one. Like he's he probably doesn't fit the age demographic we'd be targeting. So I would imagine if we were to do that, it would be a player that would be a top up that's not to cost a lot. It would be just
right.
An additional piece if it was to happen.
He might play a year or two and then go into coaching. And that's how I got told. You know what we've done with Prestia?
And like what I suppose like Sam Mitchell did going to West Coast. And
Adam
things like
usually is very big on ex-players becoming, high quality ex-players coming into the club, right? That have seen success. He's shown that with Bruce and the other guy that we got. So it's sort of, you know what, that actually makes sense to me. If he played 12 games, fresh, or he's mainly there as a prosciutto coach while being on the park, I could see that.
There'd be some question marks about the cultural with the indiscretion, of course, will be.
Yeah,
but it's interesting. It's interesting to hear the names.
He's a human being. He's a human being. Hardwick did the same thing. I'm not defending it. I've been married 34 years, so I'm a sticker. I stay with the one. I don't cheat. But again, it's not up my place. I'm not the type of character that just slams a bloke from what I hear. Right? Everyone's got reasons, and I might not understand those reasons, but I'm not going to. I'm just talking about as a footballer. I think, but that's what came out. So no one's mentioned it yet. So
there'll naturally be a bit of a pull for him to go to Perth as well with his family, but maybe it is a lure for being a Big Four club. The Cochin piece is what makes it more interesting for me, that he can play a little bit of a role there. But again, it would be someone that you wouldn't want to pay a hell of a lot for, because it would just be a nicety and something to top up with if we needed to. But undoubtedly, though, the primary targets will still be, like your Butters, your Zach Bailey, players like that. But it's interesting nonetheless. It's interesting. So we'll keep watching the space for sure. The Bailey one in particular is one that I heard a little while ago. So I'm definitely keen to keep a close eye on that.
I heard that a couple of years ago. And I thought, but that's strange. He seemed to love, but the noise is getting louder. And from what I'm hearing is that, we're firming. We're firming with.
What will be difficult with Butters and Bailey is if both of their respective clubs match, and it comes to a trade. I reckon
it's going to be one or the other. I think it's going to be. I reckon if Port goes fucking stupid, excuse the language, if Port goes stupid and does Harley Reid, we want your first 4 rounders plus this player and that player. We'll go to Zach Bailey, which it won't be that cost, right? I do have a feeling that
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I do have a feeling there might be a trade. Someone mentioned, what are you feeling if a player was going to leave? Who would you pick being traded? Funny enough, I heard Ross. Again, this is all rumor. But if I know he's in the leadership group, so it's going to sound like I'm being an idiot. But if I had my money as trade bait,
they just re-signed him too, though.
Yeah, but as trade bait, this is the thing. As trade bait, I could see him being offered as currency for the Butters trade, because I know from what I got told, Carr, I think is the coach. Rated Ross as a junior, particularly in his draft year. So who knows?
Well, it's going to be interesting. But if teams match, we're going to have to find a way to come up with currency, because Port and Brisbane will ask for a shitload if it does get to a trade point. But I also do feel like we are in a strong position cash-wise that maybe we can outprice them in the free agency, because like Brisbane have just picked up quite a few players that maybe they can't push the limit too far with matching a bid. Port are maybe in a better position to match a ridiculous offer for Butters, and I think they'll be gearing themselves to do that.
Yeah, but Port, from what I heard, Dad, no, I heard the opposite. I heard Port's made some stupid decisions in some of their re-signings, that they haven't got the flexibility that they like us to believe. The thing is, for me, is that with Butters, everyone's thinking he's going Geelong is now the primary target for him. At the end of the day, if a player wants to go somewhere, he generally gets there.
Yeah.
So
I know they keep doing it. I mean, I thought the Bulldogs might have been a good shot for Butters as well. But
what I'm saying is, if Richmond goes in, this is why for me that back half of the year is really important for us. If we're losing games consistently, we show glimpses, but still that curve, we'll probably won't have a bupkis chance of getting him. If we actually show we start not winning every game, but we start showing this real shit, the media's, the Tigers are on the improve, look at them, they're great. You get that buzz, and it looks like next year or the year up will click and go, then that's going to put us in the driver's seat, I would think, because we have the money, We have the picks. We have the cap space, all that other stuff. So,
and Uze said as much as well, that how we act in the off season largely comes down to how we perform in season and how appealing we make ourselves to pending players.
Yeah, that's
John's
right.
got an interesting one about King from Gold Coast.
I've heard it, but I've heard that since King has been brought up. I haven't. How can I say this? Because I have been honest saying if I even think there's something in it, I'll tell you guys, even though I'm not a lock on it. It's not at that level. I think that name's it because it's King. We did have a hard on for him. So I think that's where the noise is coming from. But now Hardwick's got him. So
I just find that to be an odd spot for us to try and target with the players we've got. No doubt, let's hypothetically say Lynch retires this year, end of this year. I still feel like there is a little bit of a gap experience-wise between where Fall Armstrong are just not there just yet to take over the forward line in totality.
That's right.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's something in it. It's
the reason I don't think anything is in it, because the club's always been open. We draft talent and we trade for need. Right? So keep that in mind. That's if you focus that in, that narrows the window of what's bullshit or what might have a bit of. That's why for me, having someone like a Lachie Neale actually made sense. He's a need in the sense that he's got all that premiership experience, recent experience, but he's a leader on the field, and we need that, right? He can play forward, he can play mid. He's older now and all that, but he's an elite footballer. And then you look at Zach Bailey. Well, he fits what we need, because we do need. He can play wing, he can play, And then Butters for me is the other need. Yeah, he's got that explosive X factor. He's an advanced version of Hotton. He's what Hotton gets to.
Yeah.
Right.
And
he's already there.
And there'll be plenty of teams in the market for those guys. So we won't be alone. But like I said, I'd be more disappointed if I heard we weren't trying to lure those guys.
Oh, we tried. No. You'll hear it. We're definitely in there. We're definitely in there. And I know that for a fact we haven't been told no.
Yeah, and again, it just comes down to how well we can perform in the year. So that's on the club, I guess. Yeah. The last one I'll ask you about, because I've heard this one too a little bit from Kai Taylor, Darcy Wilson from St Kilda.
Yeah, I heard it, but I'm doing more investigation on it. I've heard the name.
The reason why I think that's an interesting one, I like it too, is because of all the money they threw around at players. I think that's a tree you could shake and get a existing player out from, because that generally causes unrest at some level at some point. So maybe you try your luck and get a Darcy Wilson. So I've heard that too, and I don't mind that one. So that will be interesting to see if anything happens there.
Yeah, so next show, I won't have any trade goss for you, because I see my mates every fortnight, which is great now, because so it's every second show. I'll unless I get an update, I'll do what I've just done now. If you guys take it on the right spirit, and then go on the footy forums, and go, Tigs71's lost his fucking mind, and all that sort of stuff. So it's all good.
Before we go, just to survey the audience quickly. Obviously, this show is on a Tuesday night currently. It was on Wednesdays. Is everyone okay with it being Tuesday? How do you feel about it? I'm just trying to get some live and active feedback as we go, because there's obviously a few other bits and pieces going on, but just is everyone happy for it to stay on a Tuesday? Is it enough different type of discussion from the Monday show that it's filling a need for you? Just any feedback on that. I mean, the numbers suggest it's fine, because we're sitting on about 240 people watching, and we have been for a while, which is awesome. So it suggests that it's okay, but I just thought I would survey.
God, you made me feel self-conscious, like you had a haircut yesterday.
Oh, wow. As I see, Grok shaved, you've had a haircut. It's all happening. People are saying that it's working okay.
And Tiggs on Tuesday actually is a good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You're a great marketer, mate. You've got talent.
I'll tell you what, I am the worst at thinking of username, show names. It might have even been Lauren that thought of that one potentially. I'm not too sure. There you go. See, Grok had one as well. So that's good. Thank you for the feedback in there, folks. We'll keep rolling as is then. If you are new to the channel, I hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button for more Tiger content.
Can I say something? Can I say something? Because we've got the family on. One of my goals with my rehab is sometime this year is to get back to a football game, right? So when that happens, I'll let you guys know, and I can't wait to have a beer with you blokes. Like at halftime, at the end of the game, go up and have a crownie. So that's the thing that I want to do this year. Might put it on the YouTube with the phone.
Yeah, we'll do a live for sure.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, but that's one of my goals to get there, to be able to do it, right? And I love you guys, if you go to the games, just keep an eye out for me, and I'll let you blokes know, and your ladies, if obviously the ladies watching. And if you want to feel the flesh, if you get what I mean.
You'll bring his leather pants. You'll wear the leather pants.
I'll bring the uni, whatever.
Yeah, the hoodie. You get the hoodie.
Yeah, with no pants on, and we'll have a good time.
Whenever you go into a game, let us know. We'll make sure
I'll wear my BF Tiger cast. No, I'll let you guys, and we'll catch up. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
But no, massive shout out to everybody, for jumping on tonight and watching. We appreciate it. We do need to have a show where all 5 of us meet up.
Put Jones'
Malcolm
comment on. Yeah, got big important news. Jones Racing actually might be Malcolm. I still got to work.
Have we seen him? We haven't seen him. I
haven't seen him, mate. And I know Malcolm's got a phone now. He got it by the NDIS, gave him a phone, and Jones become a lot more active since then. He might be Malcolm, but yes, I got an update for Malcolm after the game. I still remember that. Jess, that was awesome, brother. That was awesome. I was smashed by the end of that. My nieces were giving me beers after every goal, and I was so pumped. I was drinking them, and oh God, what a day that was.
It was a magical day. It really was.
A great day. Great day.
Make sure, if you're new here, hit the like and subscribe button. We're charging towards 5,000. Shout out to all the Tigercast members. Thank you so much. For those who pre-ordered a hoodie, if you're listening, the order's been placed. Hopefully it'll be here. Round 1 is very optimistic from my end, but it'll be sometime hopefully in March or April. Other than that, for those who weren't here earlier on, if you haven't listened to the club's official podcast yet, Manfred did drop the bombshell that the VFL game this Saturday, Richmond and Melbourne at Casey Fields, I will be joining Manfred in the commentary box for the VFL game that will be streamed on the Richmond's website. So the game's at 11 o'clock. So I'll do my best. I'm hoping it's more special comments so I don't botch too much of the commentary. But I'll be joining Manfred, which is going to be an awesome experience. And I thank you again to the club and Manfred for giving me the chance to jump on board. There should be good fun, so make sure you tune in for that. And I'm sure I'll cop a bit of criticism. I'll stuff something up somewhere. But it'll be very, very exciting. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. Have a wonderful night. And Teeks, thank you for jumping on again, mate. Really appreciate it. And then we've got Behind Frenemy Lines is happening on Thursday, which will be with Adrian from Debrief. And so we'll do that as well. And other than that, though, until the next one, go Tigers.
Tune in. Tigers Tuesday. Tune in.
That's it. Teeks Talk Tuesday. Keep it on your calendar. We'll keep rolling out. So until the next one, guys, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.